Let's move on to the subdisciplines of microbiology. Let's keep it simple and just move it. All the mentioned five terminologies are actually the study of the microorganisms that we just went through. Bacteriology, as the name suggests, it is the study of bacteria. Logy actually means to study, and the pre-word that is present before the logy is the one that is being studied. So bacteriology is the study of bacteria, virology is the study of virus. Mycology, actually they didn't use the word fungus or fungi or something like that. They actually used another language word, which, sorry, I don't remember which language was it, but maybe German, maybe, who knows. There are just few languages that they pick words from, so they use the mycology. So now parasitology. So in parasitology, just the protozoa doesn't come under it. There comes the helminths, and helminths are the worms, the beautiful, beautiful worms that live inside our intestine, or maybe in our blood, or maybe in our tissues, like loa loa, Taenia solium. So the worms that blocks your intestine, and then your stomach bloats, and then you cannot go to washroom, and then you cannot stool, and then your whole body messes up, and then your hair also messes up, and are the ones that are present in the butthole of the children, or maybe the adults, that keep causing itching, and then we cannot sleep in peace because of these dang helminths, worms, that comes under the parasitology. Now, the phycology is the study of algae. Well, actually, they didn't give the algae the name algaeology. They didn't do it. Why? No one knows why didn't they do that. Well, they had to use the words from another language. Of course, English is just so useless, right? In scientific world. So phyco or phyto. So we know that phyto is used for plants. So you just have to remember that phyco is used for the organisms similar to plants, which is the algae. So it is phycology. Now let's study the examples. Like studying the Staphylococcus aureus. Staphylococcus aureus is the microorganism that cause the throat infection. Well, actually, they are present in multiple areas, but I'm giving you an example. And they are actually pretty resistant bacteria to the antibiotics, and it is causing pretty problems, and it is mutating every second day. One bacteriology we research on, like why is it causing bacteria, or how, oh sorry, why is it causing disease, or how is it causing disease, or how can we cure it, or things like this and that, blah blah blah. And we also study the beneficial side of the bacteria, not just the harmful. Well, virology, just as I mentioned, the this is saying that the research on HIV virus. HIV is a human immunodeficiency virus. By human immunodeficiency virus, it makes our body human immunodeficient. How it makes our human body immunodeficient? It's because it attacks our T cells. The cells, well, you don't have to go deep. It attacks our immune cells and destroys them. Well, not all of them, but some of them that are actually pretty important. And they cause our body's immune system to collapse. And if that immune system is collapsed, our body cannot protect itself from other microorganisms that are dangerous. And then slowly but gradually the person gets infected from other infections, and then it dies. You can suppress the HIV virus with medicines or chemotherapies, but you cannot actually kill it. And the person just gets the expands its life 10 years longer or 15 years longer. Maybe it's developed pretty more, but it is actually very persistent, and it can be sexually transmitted. So it's not just this virus. In virology, we study all different kinds of virus. Mycology, there is an example of Candida albicans. You can also take the example of mushrooms, or you can take the example of the fungi that grows roots in your soul or in your feet and your fingers, and then you have to get the operation to remove it, and it is just so persistent that it won't grow. Don't worry though, fungi actually needs an environment that they will grow in, and if that environment isn't given, the fungi doesn't grow. So it's your fault that the fungi grows on your feet, and it's because of moisture and the dirt. Another type is the dandruff. Dandruff is actually a fungi. Not every dandruff is a fungi. It's caused by microorganism fungi, but there is a type of dandruff that is caused by fungi, and that type is a persistent type. That dandruff type is. Now, parasitology. It is a study of parasites, including protozoa and helms. Well, we discussed it. So let's just go to the. Well, we discussed the helminths, right? The loa and the intestine one. Well, other ones are, the one that lives in the body and called elephantitis or the things like that. Now, let's see the example of the protozoa. That is the Plasmodium falciparum. That's malaria. Malaria is also a disease that wiped quite the population of the world, and it is actually caused by this tiny microorganism that we can't even see with our own eyes. How it works is the plasmodium falciparum just enters in our body by mosquito, and it develops into an adult. And when it develops into an adult, it causes our red blood cells to it causes our red blood cells to be destructed, and then it continues doing that and moving in our own whole body. And then the mosquito comes and sucks blood from us, and then the eggs or the small forms of the Plasmodium falciparum grows into the mosquito gut. Only intermediate life cycle goes into the gut of the mosquito, and then it goes back to bite another human, and that plasmodium goes and grows in the other human. Now, the phycology, we actually studied very in detail the cyanobacteria, algae. So of course I think you would be pretty familiar with the algae now. Actually, let's study about the harmful side of the algae. There are certain kinds of algae. We call it algal bloom. It causes algal bloom. If the algae grows on the water, and it takes a lot of space on the upper layer of the water and takes nutrients from the water, and it blocks the sunlight, and it takes oxygen from the air and doesn't produce oxygen in return, and it takes the oxygen and produce carbon dioxide or something. So the marine organisms that are present below them, they just can't get sunlight, they can't get oxygen, and they can't get nutrients, and then they die.